Hiya lads, I think we've just been having a little chat off air. We try to save all the good stuff for the show itself. Delighted to welcome Al Rogers and Steve Brown onto the first final whistle after what was a fantastic away win for Liverpool in a notoriously tricky place to go. On a wet Monday night, the odds usually would not fall. Thanks for that, Al. It was going so well, mate. Usually in a ground where Liverpool notoriously struggle, we seem to come out on top on what I felt was a comfortable victory. But before giving my opinion, I'll come to you, lads. How are you, gents, after that magnificent win?
Hello, pal. Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Absolutely buzzing. I'm not going to lie to you. It was... From my side, it was a composed and powerful-looking Liverpool performance, which I think levelled at us over the years. We tend to have rocky spells in games, and I certainly didn't feel like we had too much of one in that game. What about yourself?
Yeah, I just think it was a solid performance, and for me there tonight, the reason we paid the big money for the big players is evident there tonight, because Crystal Palace, not many will go there and get away with results. I think that they're a decent team. They've got pace and power all over the pitch. He done well to keep them in the league last season, and I think they'll kick on. But for me, that was a big test. I put on Twitter early on the day, I think this will be a really difficult test for Liverpool, and it was. But you look at the likes of Van Dijk, and I thought it was an outstanding performance for me. That.
Steve, would you echo Al's sentiments? Were you feeling a little bit nervous sort of coming into this one, or were you feeling confident?
I was fairly confident, to be honest. After seeing the way we performed last week, like Palace, they're not a bad side. They're set out exactly the way Hodgson wants them to be set out. They're not going to be. You're not getting anything spectacular from them that you don't know. I thought we would have enough to deal with it, and it turned out that we did. The two lads at the back, especially Gomez and Van Dijk, were just imperious tonight.
I think for me that was one of the things that struck me was, I think in the first sort of 10-15 minutes, you could kind of see that Crystal Palace were looking to target our right hand side. They were looking to isolate Trent and potentially pull Gomez into wide areas. But yeah, I think from our side, I think Joe Gomez in particular, these are testing couple of weeks for him now, because I think a lot of people are going to be watching how he does potentially with Lovren to come back in the side. And again tonight, he was arguably faultless. The power and the conviction in everything that he does, you can see that he's really thriving alongside what I think is now comfortably the best centre-back in the league. I know you were particularly impressed with Virgil van Dijk, Al.
I think everything about Van Dijk's outstanding, and I don't think it's a kind of coincidence, the emergence of Andy Roberts from last season as well, playing alongside, because you can see Van Dijk giving instructions, and I think I said to you lads earlier on in the WhatsApp group this week or last week, Gomez playing alongside Van Dijk will only bring Gomez on leaps and bounds. He's a young kid. He is going to make mistakes. But I just think playing next to Van Dijk and with the keeper behind him, we could find another little gem in Gomez again for me.
And you made a comment during the game, Al, that you were particularly impressed with us from in terms of defending set pieces. What was it that impressed you the most about the back line and I suppose the goalkeeper as well?
I'm not a big fan of the zone and marking what we do, but I said we put in our WhatsApp group, teams must dread getting a corner, for themselves against Liverpool, because we're lethal. We're absolutely lethal. Unless the team scores or gets a chance from it, we're so quick on the break. If I was an opposition manager, I'd be like to the goal, look, just kick it out for the throw in the score. Because we're so fast on the break. It's absolutely frightening. And, you've got a goalkeeper who will command his box, who come and collect it, and his distribution is so quick and so good. We'll score a lot of goals from opposition corners this season.
You said it yourself, Steve, in terms of Alisson's distribution. There was a couple of pings out wide, and just his general demeanour. I think from my side, I think what he had to do. It wasn't that they were fantastic saves, but it was the way in which he did it. Like, it was very matter of fact, complete confidence. I think he stood out for you tonight as a real positive, didn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Like, he makes 2 saves. There was obviously the one that was offside, the third save. The save from the free kick was just no fuss, get across your goal, save the ball, and that was it. There was no showing for the cameras, trying to do something stupid. It was job, nice and simple. The other side, then the deflection from Zaha, again, nice and simple. That's all you want from your goalkeeper. First half, he comes for a corner and just takes it, no bother, catches the ball, easy. Then free kick comes in and he clears out Van Dijk and Benteke to get a fist on it. What more do you keep it? Like, and then, as you said, the passing range is absolutely outrageous. The 2 balls that he played, one to Robertson and one to Trent on the other side at different times, and they're Xavi Alonso type passes. That's how good the balls are, like. And it's 60 or 70 yards onto the fullback's toes to set them away. Like, it's only going to get better. If this is the level that we're expecting, this is the level we expect. We're paying that much money for a keeper. You need him to be this, and so good, really. That's all you can say. He hasn't been massively under pressure or tested or whatever it may be, but what he has had to do, he's done without any fuss.
Yeah, and I think, when you throw in a keeper like him into the Lions, then there was stuff coming out in the week that they were preparing him with kind of rugby mats and bashing into him and getting him ready for a bit of an aerial onslaught. I think it was within inside the first 10 minutes he'd done a Cruyff turn, sent their striker one way and rolled it out to the fullback, and I thought, you know what, he's just going to be fine here. He's very similar to Van Dijk, I think, in a player that just has complete confidence in everything that he's going to do. So even if, players are going to make mistakes, I think Liverpool fans need to realise that we're not going to be perfect. But when they do make mistakes, you want them to have the type of aura that Van Dijk has. And Alisson has that, you know what, lads, it doesn't matter. It won't happen again. Give me the ball. I'm coming for this cross. Everything that he does has that air of authority. And I think that was one of the things for me that stood out about this Liverpool team tonight, is that Palace didn't play particularly poorly. In fact, I'd actually say that they played quite well. They put us under pressure. They made things difficult. But the commanding sort of nature of this Liverpool team now, they're very much, look, we can mix it. If you want to get physical, we have the players that can do that. But then when we do earn the right to play, we're going to break very, very quickly, and you better be prepared from that. Would you go along with that, Al?
Yeah, look, Alisson's got, I'm looking at it there and I'm just thinking he's just kind of got that aura where there's like an aura around him what just smells, I'm the best in the world.
He knows he's good. He knows he's good. Yeah.
There's a difference in arrogance when you're a footballer. There's arrogance where you're flashy, you're arrogant. He's got that arrogance that he knows he's special. And that's the first thing when I took out, of the first 2 games, particularly tonight. He's getting the ball. He's getting centre forward who was running at him, and Karius and Mignolet, that's where they flat and just smash balls and miss kick it. He's got a centre forward who's running to him, he just takes it out of a step and he just pings a 70-yard pass, like looking at the forwards as if to say, and what?
Yeah.
He's got this arrogance about him, and it's the same arrogance what Van Dijk's got about him.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at some of the stuff what Keita's got, and he's got the same arrogance. And you're thinking, when you get to the front 3, they've all got that arrogance, and all of a sudden I'm getting excited, thinking, this is special.
Al, what was the last thing I said? I was like, I'm trying to control myself here, lads. I don't want to get carried away. You're not helping, mate, because I'm going to go into full turbo mode in a minute.
It's just one of them, Jay, where I'm watching it and you're thinking, in the past we've made signings, like, it's different now. This is a different Liverpool for me now, because we've gone in and we've gone, right, we're no longer this selling club. We're not going to go and get, no disrespect to you, Matip's a decent player. We're not going to go and get these free transfers, and we're going to come in and hopefully we can develop them into be better players. They've gone out and they've gone, we've got potentially the best goalkeeper in the world. You said the comment before, Jay, about the best defender in the league. For me, mate, we've got the best defender in the world.
Yeah.
I'd go that far with him. And all of a sudden, it's quite hard to consider. It's only 2 games. But it's 2 games where we've looked dominant in different ways for me.
Yeah, it was a totally different type of performance tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And Steve, coming to you, because I want to kind of move forward through the team, I suppose, because there's a lot to touch on. But just to finish off, I suppose, on that defensive unit, I know you rate Trent very highly. What were your thoughts on the fullbacks tonight?
We thought Trent was brilliant. Kept Zaha very, very quiet. He ended up forcing Zaha inside. You could see first half Zaha looked to play wide left to try and get on Trent, to try and give him. Trent had a nightmare there last season because it was the United game and the Palace game were the 2 poor games that he had. But tonight Trent he was just bang at it. He just knew what he wanted to do, what he needed to do. Delivery wasn't great, but again that's going to come in time. We've seen previously that his delivery can be spot on. But I thought defensively tonight he was very, very good. And Robertson is just like it's the steal of the century that we got him for £8 million. He uses class. Everything he does oozes class. He's so calm. As Al said, I'm surprised he's become this player because he's playing beside Van Dijk. Van Dijk just tells him what to do. You go. It literally he just looks at Van Dijk and for all of his instructions. So whether he's going to go, whether he's going to sit in, what he wants to do, but he's not just bombing on for the sake of it. Like Van Aanholt's a decent left back, but all he's doing is bombing on for the sake of it. Whereas Robertson is, when he first came into the team, we seen that he was one touch, get the ball out and whip it in. But now he's developed the ability to play, so he's joining in with Keita, with Mane, with Henderson and Ronaldo. And he's a proper threat now. Teams don't know what to do. They're looking at Mane and then they have Robertson just overlapping out of nowhere. I thought, again, delivery wasn't perfect tonight, but again, it was one of those games where there was times you had to dig in tonight. And the back four, I think, as a unit tonight were perfect. There's 2 clean sheets in 2 games, regardless of what we played. What the different challenges that we've had. It's 2 clean sheets. There's no better way to start the season. I will tell you that himself.
No, it's all about momentum, isn't it? You're building momentum now, and all of a sudden you're looking at the Brighton game and you're thinking, if we could go, we beat Brighton, we should be beating Brighton. So all of a sudden, if you're getting momentum now and you've got 3 games, 3 wins, you're like, you're building already, which is, people say the first 6 games the league doesn't tell its story. Well, when you've got Man City, the Man Cities in the world in the league who are expected to win nearly every game, the first 6 games do matter. And if we can keep building momentum, it's looking good. It's hard to contain the excitement.
Yeah, I think for me, if you look at these opening block of fixtures, Liverpool now are being spoken about in, I think, a way that they haven't been spoken about in a long time, and that's as genuine title contenders. And with that comes its own pressure, and it's pressure that's probably new to a lot of these players. So if we can go and beat a team at Anfield convincingly in a manner that was very impressive, whilst being in third gear really. And then going away to a notoriously difficult place where you've got to earn the right to play, and we did that in spades tonight. You're automatically, putting yourself at the front of the queue when it comes to being the challengers to Manchester City. And I think for us moving forward, if we can keep this momentum going, as you said, coming up to Brighton, you get another 3 points on the board there. You've automatically got players that are going to want to come into this side. You're looking at this thinking, do you know what, we can really mount a challenge. And it's not just in the Premier League that we're able to handle it. You'd say that we've got the squad. I mean, if you look at the players that didn't come on tonight, we weren't able to bring on the likes of Shaqiri and Sturridge, who have arguably been our best defensive players, minus Keita, during pre-season. So that just screams there's genuine competition now. Everybody wants to get out there and get some game time. But the way that the current lads are playing, and we'll come on particularly into midfield because I think they deserve a special mention. These lads deserve to keep their shirts. And 2 that stood out for me tonight was Naby Keita and Gini Wijnaldum. What were your thoughts on the midfield axis? I'll come to you.
Go on. I go with it. I thought Wijnaldum was absolutely outstanding again tonight. It was a different performance to the West Ham game. The West Ham game, it's almost time and space. He could do what he wanted. Tonight, he was under a bit of pressure, but he showed the physical nature of his game, which isn't something you often see from Wijnaldum. He was prepared to put the foot in. He was prepared to let Keita play, which was an interesting performance from Wijnaldum. As I said, he wasn't against West Ham. he looked great because it was time and space and he could pick passes and he could get forward. I thought Keita tonight was hit and miss. We had the bit in the first half where he does the lad closing him down and then picks Salah out with the pass where Salah should score. That's what we're expecting from Keita. But then we had 5 minutes later where he's misplacing the pass where he should be. It's a sloppy pass. He went quiet second half as well. I thought it wasn't after getting a run into the box where it was a good tackle, but it was a quiet game. I thought Wijnaldum was the pick of the midfield tonight. Anyway,
would you go along with that, Al?
Yeah, I didn't think Keita was quiet. I thought he was superb the first half. It's just his pressing. Sometimes it's his pressing where he sets the press. He doesn't necessarily win it, but there's like a Milner next to him. Keita forces a mistake and the Milner wins it. So I didn't think he was quite. I think he tired it earlier on, but it's funny you should say about Wijnaldum because I watched the game with my son, and my son said to me, he said, "How good was Wijnaldum?" And it's not the case that we've just made these signings like we forgot about Fabinho. I don't know what's up with him. He's not really even in the squad, but I'm looking forward to seeing him. It's not just a new signing we brought in. Wijnaldum's like a new signing because he has to be now. Yeah. He has to take his game to another level. Because if he doesn't, he's gone. He's out. He won't play. And I think this is the big thing what we've got with Liverpool now as well as Henderson. I think it'll drive them on to better levels because the competition's there. I've been there as a player. When I was at Forest, I was the main man. I had no competition. It was easy. But then when I went to Leicester and I was playing left back and we won the league and then we signed Ben Thatcher, who was also a left back, you're like, I've got to up my game. So if you look at Liverpool's squad now, Henderson, for me, Wijnaldum's like a brand new signer. I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't his biggest fan. Last season, he's just one of them nearly plays for me. Now, he's got his first name on the sheet, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's the composure in those type of games. He just seems to be able to take the sting out of the game at key times. Even if he's got 2 or 3 men around him, he's able to use his body. And my son's at the age now where he just wants to consume as much football, and you try to pick out little traits in players that they can kind of learn from. And one from Ginny that always stands out for me, it's the way that he moves his body to protect the ball. If a man comes to him from the right, he knows to shield and he can turn away. There was a couple of times tonight when Palace were getting up a little head of steam, and he just takes the sting out of the game and then can recycle the ball, and it completely changes. Takes the impetus away from them. One thing that sort of stood out for me tonight, I suppose, is James Milner, and yet again, write him off at your peril. This guy is arguably now in probably a purple patch in his career. Never mind just at Liverpool. I think many fans have written him off. We've seen lots of players signed, and people supposedly say that's going to be the end of him. At this moment in time, he's adding so much both on the pitch and off the pitch. It's very hard to imagine a Liverpool team without James Milner in it, Steve.
Milner's been brilliant. But as Al said, it's the fact that he's had to up his game and to another level if he wants to play. It's just that simple. It's the competition for places has made, like, he's keeping Henderson out of the team at the minute, and Henderson's the club captain. So it's it was imperious against West Ham. He was just different class. But tonight was a different performance where he had to dig in. He had to give more of a dig out to the right hand side to Trent. Keep Zaha quiet first half. Ran himself into the ground for 60 minutes. Does his job, and then we're bringing on Henderson. It's turning into the squad has shown moves like that where we're not bringing on. I don't know. We're not stuck with just 3 players like we were towards the end of the last season. We do have the options, but Milner has been the star of the first 2 games, really.
And he's been superb. He has, and you say that as well, Steve. It's not just the England. He was England's best midfielder in the World Cup.
Yeah.
James Milner never went to the World Cup, and he's keeping them out the team. So that speaks volumes for Milner. And
I think when you look at it as well, for me, what I want to see in these type of games is a little bit of snide, a little bit of game smarts. And there was a couple of times tonight that James Milner knew when to make the foul. He knew when to leave the leg in. He knew when to disrupt their flow. And that's another thing that's been I think rightly labelled over, a Liverpool side over the years, is that we haven't had much backbone. We're a little bit, a team of fannies, to use a good, a basic term. But that can't be said to us now. We've got leaders throughout this team. We've got leaders on the bench waiting to come on. And there was an interesting comment through, from Klopp in the week. He was a little bit spiky in relation to players and their expectations around starting time. He's changing the culture at the club now. You look at the way that Daniel Sturridge is happy to come in and play a bit part role in this Liverpool team. You've got people like Shaqiri coming in and adding so much when he's on the pitch and adding so much off the pitch, supposedly, around the club. It does seem a real tight-knit community. And I think from, as we sort of move up the pitch, you look at the front three now. I would argue that Mo maybe didn't have his best game potentially on the ball tonight. I thought he looked a little bit slow in his decision making, but what he lacked in that, he causes such a panic whenever he receives the ball that you can always see something happening when the ball goes near him, Al.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I agree with you, Jay. I thought he was average tonight. But then when I'm sat here thinking, when I'm just listening to you then saying, yeah, I agree there, Jay, he could have scored 4 goals.
Yeah.
And he's had a poor game. I thought our front three were all quiet tonight, to be brutally honest with you. Mane showed snippets of it, but Firmino was very quiet. But, you'll settle for that when you're going away to Crystal Palace. Your front three not on fire. One scored, one gets brought down for a penalty, and you win 2-0 away from home.
And this again, it's something that's probably, Steve, not been synonymous with the Liverpool team, is that when we potentially aren't at our best, from an attacking standpoint, we tend not to get the results that we would deserve. But we seem to be a team now will just always find a way, whether it's by a moment of individual brilliance or it's just through sheer tenacity. We seem to always be able to find a way.
Yeah, it's turning the screw. It's that thing where we just keep pressing it, and it always looks like it's coming. There's always going to be a chance. There's going to be another chance. There's going to be another chance, and that level of confidence that we have, that they're all like that. If we don't get the penalty tonight, we still go and score that goal in the 93rd minute. Like Mane scoring goals in the 93rd minute to wrap games up, because there's always something happening. They're always trying to push on, kick on to get that chance that we're going to make the goals. Everything's just happening because we're trying to make it happen, but we're not forcing it. The thing I kept saying tonight was the patience. There was no big opening 10 minutes. There was no big burst or blowing ourselves out. It was a different performance to what we've seen last season, where we'd play for an hour and then for 30 minutes we'd hold on. Tonight was different. There was a calmness about the performance, which is a big difference to what we had last week. Even if you're going off small sample sizes, as Al said, it's only 2 games into the season. It's very hard not to get excited. But when we're seeing 2 different types of performances and 2 wins, it's promising. Dare
to dream, as they say, Steve. Dare to dream, and I think that's what we're all doing.
I hope it kills you, Jay.
What I want to do, lads, I want to move on to a couple of the chat questions that's coming through, and one that stood out here from Gareth is huge win in terms of mentality and what that does for Liverpool. And from your standpoint, Al, you mentioned sort of momentum before. What will that do to this group from a mentality standpoint? And as a second stage of that question, what will that do to Man City? Because I'm sure that they'll be sat there watching a potential banana skin tonight. What does that do to both camps?
Momentum's vital when you're going for it, but look, Liverpool will be going there now. I thought we were quite comfortable, Jade, being honest. Yeah, they were always going to have a period of the game because the fans there are great at Crystal Palace to get right behind them. But the momentum building, and you just get the feeling that with this Liverpool squad, it's kind of like, right, job done, next one now. And it's kind of like it's just rolling and rolling all the time for me. I'm getting really excited.
And I think that's it. I think once, as you said, once the ball starts to roll, the players are chomping at the bit for the next game. They're skipping into training the next day. Yeah. They're ready for the next obstacle, and they'll be turning their attentions to Brighton, thinking, do you know what, we can go, we can really do a number on them here. If you look at the game against United, United were very poor. I don't think there's anything now, particularly with Van Dijk and Gomez and Alisson commanding in that area the way they do, that would overly worry us about Brighton. But Steve, from your side, there's a couple of questions that have come through. One particular around the substitutions. What were your thoughts on the substitutions from our standpoint tonight? I know you weren't particularly impressed with Crystal Palace's, but we'll come on to that in a minute.
Oh yeah, we will definitely. Henderson came on at the right time. Palace were having a little patch where they were looking like they were pushing on, looking like they were getting on top, and then we bring on Henderson and we get the ball and we move the ball more. We kept the ball better. He upped the tempo. As soon as Henderson came on, the tempo upped from us. Obviously the sending off does help that. And then there was no real, like, the Lallana substitution is not a token substitution, but it's at the stage where it was like the 86th, 87th, or 85th, 86th minute, whatever it was, and it was just another player that we knew he was going to keep the ball. He's not going to do anything stupid, although he does give away a free kick in a dangerous position. It's no need for it. But we have that type of player that he can come off the bench and we can keep the ball and string 30, 40, 50 passes to get in, just kill time off the clock. We were 1-0 up away from home. We didn't need to be doing anything fancy. We didn't need to bring on Shaqiri to try and beat a man and shoot at that stage of the game. The Sturridge substitution was a bit random coming on the 93rd minute, but look, it is what it is. It's good. It's nice to see Sturridge getting minutes on the pitch, even if it is only the small little snippets. He's still in Klopp's mind. It's keeping him in Klopp's mind that he's still making appearances. That's now 9 appearances since the start of pre-season for Sturridge, which is huge for him mentally. So it's going to keep up his confidence. He's getting onto the pitch. Can we talk about Palace's substitution?
Go on, mate. I know you've been dying to talk about this.
It's the purest Hodgson substitution you will ever see. I understand that you're down to 10 men, your right back just got sent off. Very impressive young right back as well, actually. But you're 1-0 down at home with 15 minutes left, and you bring on a right back for a fucking winger. You shut up shop with 1-0 down.
Hodge ball at his finest there.
It's fucking outrageous. There'd be absolute uproar. Imagine Trent gets sent off and we're 1-0 down at home and he takes off Salah or Mane. Like, that's fucking outrageous. Like, I'm sorry, but I've no sympathy for him. I despise him. But like that's everything you need to know about Hodgson right there. Like,
it shows how far we've come, mate.
Taking a 1-0 defeat at home.
So supposedly, I'm getting text saying that he's raging in his interview, but he's very good at this, Hodgson. He's always very good at blaming other people for his downfall.
Never his fault. Never his fault.
So what we're going to try and do with these shows as we move forward, we're going to try and keep them to 30 minutes. So we've got a couple of minutes left. So I want to start, I suppose, a bit of a trend throughout the season by going around the room and getting everybody's man of the match for today and your reasons why. So I'll come to you first, Al, for your man of the match.
Probably Hodgson, because you really got to stay tonight.
He's been getting me for 8 years, you know.
I think Van Dijk. I think it's close. I mean, can we have two? Can we give it to the two centre halves? Because I thought the two of them were absolutely outstanding. But if you're going to give it to one, it's got to be big. It's got to be big Virgil. And
just on Van Dijk before we move to Steve's man of the match out, as a defender, what type of impact does somebody with his assurance and his authority have across that back line?
It's immense because you're looking at the man. He's 6'5", whatever, but. You have players like, and I don't mean to harp on about Matip. You have Matip who's equally as big as Van Dijk, but you're looking at Van Dijk and it's like a man of mouth, isn't it? I mean, Van Dijk uses his play. He's absolutely through Benteke all over Selhurst Park tonight, hasn't he? And how many times has Benteke been the bugbear of Liverpool?
True.
And he's just dismissed him as if, you shouldn't be with me. Off you go. Go and Hodgson's going to sub you. Get off the pitch. And he's got that presence about you, and he's got the calming influence. He's getting the ball. His passing, by the way, look, we forgot about it. He's spraying balls left, right and centre, Van Dijk.
Like it's a kickabout in the park?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm just going to knock this 80 yards out to the right winger.
No big deal.
No, just a norm.
And what about you, Steve? Who's your man of the match?
It's Van Dijk as well. We're going to be real about it. Like, he's just, as Al said, we've seen how deep Benteke dropped first half because he didn't want anything to do with Van Dijk.
No.
He decided, I'm not winning anything, I'm just going to drop off 15 yards. So there was no out ball for Palace in that sense either. They couldn't hit Benteke because he was hiding.
Because he was getting hit.
Because he was getting hit. But it was just every single ball that came up Van Dijk was... But there's none of this blind heading the ball either. He's winning the header and picking out players as he's winning the header. He's class. Like, no one's mentioned his price tag since day one because he's been that good. He's the most expensive defender in the world, and he
plays like it. I think for the voice of variety, I'll probably go with Joe Gomez, and just because we've come to expect these performances from Virgil van Dijk now, that's his backline. Whereas for Joe Gomez, I think the margins of error, there's less margin for error, and I think probably everything he does in the football pitch for the next maybe 6 games is going to be heavily scrutinised to see if he's up to the test. And I think again tonight, in very difficult circumstances, I actually can't remember him putting a foot wrong. I think maybe you can label potentially he knocks off from time to time, which is going to happen to younger players, and potentially he's a little bit slow to recycle the ball, but I think tonight he was pretty much imperious, and I really do think there's green shoots for the future partnership between these two. So what that does, lads, that brings us to the end of our first ever reaction show with the Trippers. I'm looking forward to chatting to you more this season, and as you know, and hopefully the viewers will know, we've got a big day tomorrow. It's going to be the first live show from our brand new studio. So I'd like to wish all the lads on the show tomorrow the best of luck. There's been some unbelievable work. Steele testified to this from a lot of the Trippers in getting the studio to where it is. Particularly, I hope it goes well for Phil, because if not, we'll all get it in the neck. So with a bit of luck, everything goes smoothly tomorrow, and you'll be watching the Trippers wax lyrical about this champions-elect from a brand new shiny studio. So with that, gents, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to chatting to you again next week. Up the Reds.